What's happening, Hardwood Nation? It is finally here. Welcome to Season 7 of Hardwood Heroes. I'm your host, Sean Neidig. We have a full court press of coverage coming right at you guys over the next 8 weeks, starting right now. So without any more hesitation, let's tip it off. There's a lot coming up in our show, but if you're going to have to look at my face over the next couple months, I wanted to tell you guys a little bit more about who I am. Hey everyone, I'm Sean Neidig, your host for Hardwood Heroes this year. I'm from Medina, Ohio, which is just outside of Cleveland. I was born and raised there. I've lived there my entire life. I started playing basketball when I was in the 5th grade, and ever since then, I love playing, I love watching, I just love the sport. The Cleveland Cavaliers are my favorite team, and Kevin Love especially, that's my guy, that's my favorite player. I became a Yankees fan when I was younger because of Derek Jeter, just loved the way he played. And then Manchester United is my English soccer league club, and I just love watching sports of any kind, really. But when I'm not doing that, I like listening to music, watching some TV. I'm a huge fan of country music, anything like that. The Bachelor franchise is my favorite TV show. Sometimes people kind of poke fun at me a little bit about that, but I just love that. The reason I wanted to be Hardwood Heroes host was because there's so many great stories in Southeast Ohio, especially around these basketball teams, and I wanted to bring all of those to you. I wanted to tell the stories of all of those teams. So we wanted to thank you guys for letting us into your homes and into your gyms to be able to cover these stories and bring you those stories, and hopefully you guys will stick with us for the rest of the season. So now that you know a little bit more about me, let's get into where our teams stand 2 months into their seasons as of Friday night. Starting with the TVC Ohio boys, the Vinton County Vikings and Meg's Marauders are both sitting pretty atop the table at 11-0. Behind those two are the boys from Albany, the Alexander Spartans. The Spartans are 8-3 on the year, but only 3-2 in the conference. The Athens Bulldogs are also 3-2 against TVC Ohio opponents. The Buckeyes of Nelsonville York have only won one conference game and sit above only winless Wellston and River Valley. Now in the TVC Hawking, there's a familiar name at the top of the standings. The Trimble Tomcats are undefeated in conference once again at 6-0. Federal Hawking is in the bottom half of the standings at 2-5. Bringing up the rear are the Eastern Eagles, who have only one win in TVC Hawking play. And now shifting gears to the girls, there are 3 teams in the Ohio tied at 5-1. The Buckeyes, Spartans, and Vikings are all in the driver's seat, so the next few weeks will be crucial. And in the Hawking, the Waterford Wildcats are setting the pace at 11-0 with 9 wins in conference. The Eastern girls are on their way to another successful season, while the Wahama White Falcons are only 1-9 on the year. All right, now you've seen them in the gyms near you, and now it's time to welcome them into our set. Online hosts Danny Dean and Josh Gregory join me now. Guys, our teams have been busy all season long.
Oh yeah, Sean, our reporters have stayed busy keeping up with all the action.
We have a jam-packed for all you TVC fans, so let's get right to it. In a few minutes, you know him well, Nelsonville York reporter Justin Holbrook will fill us in on the NY Lady Bucks' strong play under a new head coach, as well as the boys' recent rut. Next, Corbin Bagford will give you the ins and outs of Vinton County basketball, and it's nothing but success in MacArthur. The Lady Vikings are a force to be reckoned with, and the boys are boasting a perfect record.
And we have some special guests in Studio A today. This is going to put a smile on your face. The very inspirational Lady Lancer, Faith Bennett Wolf, and her father Todd will be on the show. And right after that, we'll get some more Lancer updates from Rachel Walbrown. Although both teams have losing records, she's dishing out the small improvements they've made this season. And
stick with us because Patrick Klinger is comparing this year's Lady Bulldogs to last year's TVC championship team. He'll also be giving us the secrets behind the boys' recent success. And Meg's expert Andrew Holman talks on both teams' unexpected turnarounds from last year.
And stay tuned for our jump ball segment. David Michael and Josh Vermillion will be debating which team stands a better chance this season, the Trimble Tomcats or the Alexander Spartans. And rounding out the show, Megan Stamper is giving us our weekly dose of Eastern basketball. Both teams are right where people expected them to be.
So stick with us, because at the end of the show, we'll be revealing our heroes of the week. See if your favorite player made the cut.
All right, guys, thanks a lot. I look forward to hearing from you guys later. When you look at Nelsonville York, the girls are tied for first place while the boys sit at the bottom of the TVC Ohio. So Justin Holbrook is here with me on the desk. And Justin, it seems like the difference between these two teams is really night and day.
Well, you know, it's pretty simple, Sean. It's like you said, the girls and boys teams are moving in 2 very different directions. Let's focus on the Lady Buckeyes first. Last year, they won a school record 21 wins under Amanda Dalton. But in the offseason, Dalton stepped down and Madison Davis graduated. So we were left to wonder if they can continue that same success. But under their new head coach, Doug Whiteman, they haven't missed a beat. The Lady Buckeyes hold a 9-3 record with only 1 loss in the TVC Ohio. That one loss came to Vinton County in overtime back on December 7th. NY actually ended the fourth quarter on a 13-3 run to force OT, despite only making 4 of their 19 free throws. The girls will get a chance to redeem themselves this coming Thursday when they take on Vinton County at home, and Coach Whiteman knows there's a lot of change in this team since that loss.
I just think we're a completely different team than we were then. We weren't clicking together offensively, and we were kind of learning the system a little bit, and now we're a lot more comfortable and a lot more fluid on offense.
Yeah, that's going to be a huge game for NY. So what's one reason why they're in first place?
Well, just one name for you, Sean. Jessie Addis. She's only a sophomore, but she started on last year's team and has shown unbelievable leadership at her age. She leads the team in points almost every game, but more than that, she's the heart and soul of this team and is determined to out-hustle anybody on the court. But give her teammates credit. Caitlin Hurd is another strong returner from last year, along with Tori Campbell, who provides a presence down low. One thing to keep an eye on is that on Thursday's win over River Valley, Sam Taylor, Hannah Taylor, and Jordan Fick didn't play due to a coach's decision. But make no mistake, this is a team determined to win the conference.
So let's switch gears here, Justin. Tell me a little bit about the boys' team.
Well, you know, it's tough because these guys, they came out of the gate strong. They won their first 3 games. But since those wins, they've lost 6 in a row, including 3 in the TVC Ohio. Cutting down on turnovers and defense is something Coach Klein will have his team focusing on, with the Buckeyes giving up at least 70 points in 4 of their 6 losses. The trio of Christian Berry, Hunter Edwards, and Aaron Davis provides a strong presence on offense. If they can limit turnovers and control the tempo of the game, then wins could start rolling their way, Sean.
Yeah, we'll see if they can make those adjustments. Thanks, Justin. What's fast, easy, and available at any time of the day? Yes, Taco Bell is a fitting answer, but I'm talking about the Hardwood Heroes Twitter account. Be sure to follow us at Hardwood Heroes for easy access to recaps and show links. You can also interact with us, and I promise you won't have the same empty feeling left behind by Dollar Tacos. And I know that you guys can't get enough of me, so remember that you can also follow my host account at hhost_Sean. There must be something in the water in Vinton County because as we enter 2016, both Viking teams sit near the top of the TVC Ohio. Vinton County reporter Corbin Backford is here to break down why these teams have been so successful.
Well, Sean, maybe it's the water, maybe it's something in the sweet tea from the McDonald's across the street from the high school. Whatever it is, it has both of these clubs off to terrific starts. Let's start with the ladies first, of course. Head coach Rod Bentley has the Lady Vikings at 11-3, 5-1 in the TVC Ohio. That's tied for first in the conference. I actually got a chance to watch them play against Athens on Thursday night and talk to Athens head coach Paul McNeil after the game. And he said of Vinton County, quote, "They're the best team in the league. You can't just highlight one player," unquote. And kind of what McNeil's talking about, there's a lot of star power and size on this Lady Vikings roster. They're led by Michaela Puckett. She stands at 5'10", one of the best offensive players and rebounders in all the TVC. Jalen Hale stands at 6 foot, a knockdown shooter on the wing, and Samantha Thompson, an emerging sophomore forward, is 5'8". But what really does it for this Lady Vikings team is their swarming defense led by Jalen Hale. She's not only the team's vocal leader, you can see her even when she's on the bench yelling and encouraging her teammates, but she's also a rejection machine. In her last 3 games alone, she has 11, 10, and 7 blocks, and that has to make a guy like Rod Bentley happy. I asked him about his expectations going forward, and he told me, "We're going to win the league," but when they're playing like that, it can make a man believe.
Yeah, so the girls are off to a really hot start, but the boys have been even better. So how have they been so successful so far?
Yeah, Sean, head coach Matt Combs has led Vinton County to 14 consecutive winning seasons, but this may be his best one yet. The Vikings are undefeated at 11-0 as of Friday night and pushing for a TVC Ohio title of their own. They lead a balanced attack with Jordan Albright. He's as good of a sharpshooter as you'll find in the TVC out on the perimeter. Chase Wood down low is a bruiser and can just body off opposing defenders. But who really makes the difference for this Vinton County team is point guard Tristan Bartow. He's been a 3-year starter at the point, but this year his game has transcended from a guy who is just a good spot-up shooter. But this year he's a guy who can penetrate and kick and finish very well around the rim. Coach Combs says that Bartow has become more aggressive and assertive because he put on some muscle in the offseason. And also when you have sharpshooters like Albright and Derek Jones on the perimeter, it opens up the middle for Bartow. And a player elevating his game like that has to make a coach happy. The Vikings will have their toughest test of the young season, though, on Tuesday when they take on the undefeated Megs Marauders.
We're going to be hearing more about those Marauders later on in the show. Look forward to talking to you later, Corbin. DJ Khaled Snapchats are so 2015, and the real key to success in 2016 is following the Hardwood Heroes Snapchat. Look us up on Hardwood Heroes, behind-the-scenes look at our show and content from our reporters while out at games. Also, you can send us snaps of you and your friends at the game, in the stands, during warm-ups, and in the locker room. And who knows, maybe your snap will be named our Snapchat of the week. So flip those cameras around, take your best selfie, and send them in to see your face on our show. Earlier this year, we introduced you to Faith Bennett Wolf, an amazing young athlete from Federal Hawking. The full story is still up on our website, but Fed Hawk reporter Rachel Walbrown has a refresher for you right now.
We actually had her, probably about 12 to 13 feet. She was getting the ball to the rim, but I had never seen her make a free throw from the actual line.
Oh my gosh, I think everyone just started bawling because we were so excited. And we actually had one of the girls run on the court because she was so excited. And I was like, you can't do that, you can't do that.
We kind of have a family atmosphere here, and she's fitting right in. The girls love her to death, and it's been a positive thing. She's a little angel.
Hi, sweetheart. Come in here. You come in here. Come here. This is our little buddy from Fed Hawk. How'd it feel to score?
Good.
Yeah.
Every time that she'd walk out on the floor, I'd start crying.
She lifts us up too. Like, we come in here and we're having a bad day, and she comes in and she's like giving us hugs and stuff.
There wasn't a dry eye in the gymnasium because it's about the kids. It doesn't matter what jersey they wear.
And now I am joined by two very special guests on the desk. Both Faith and her father Todd are joining me. So Faith, I heard that this was a surprise for you coming in. So how excited are you to be here?
Well, I'll be here with my basketball team and with my hockey because it's totally happy for me. It's proud of everyone, our teammates.
And then Todd, how about for you? Let's talk about the first time you saw her make those free throws at the TVC preview a couple weeks ago. How did that feel for you?
It was exciting just to see her come out onto the floor, but to stand there on the line and make those free throws, it was awesome, and it was an experience that we'll never forget.
Yeah, Faith, what's your favorite part about playing basketball?
My favorite basketball is that my teammates had a good job, and my coach is quick job for me, dad for me, and my sister gradually Snapchat me and watched my video that's YouTube.
And then Todd, do you have a favorite part about watching Faith play?
Probably one of the favorite parts I like is the warm-ups and how her teammates respond to her and help her, and she helps them. To me, that's the best part of the whole game.
And then how about, what's the reaction been like from the community, and how much does that mean to you guys?
We can't go anywhere without somebody saying something about Faith. They see her on Facebook. They've mentioned her on YouTube, and the response is overwhelming. She has a couple fans on her Facebook that says they're Faith fans, and everybody seems to look forward to watching her play basketball.
All right, guys. Well, thank you so much for joining me. Faith, can I get a fist bump?
Yeah.
There you go. All right. Thanks so much, guys, for joining us.
Thank you.
Faith and both Federal Hawking teams traveled to Reidsville this week to take on Eastern, and the outcomes were very much so the same. Reporter Rachel Walbrown joins me now, and she has all the details.
Now, the outcomes may have been similar, Sean, but how both teams got to that point were polar opposites. For the girls, their biggest flaw was not playing a full 32 minutes. They only have a tendency to take a quarter off, which allows their opponents to take a lead that is just near impossible to recover from. Hannah Dunphy was just a monster against Eastern. She managed 2 steals and 5 points, and that was all just in 45 seconds. It was a tie game heading into the half, but by trapping Fed Hawk in the corners, the Lady Eagles pulled ahead in the third with 16 unmatched points. Coach Jeremy Tolson said that this has been an ongoing issue, but if they could play all 4 quarters the way they play their usual 2 to 3, the outcomes of these games could be a lot better.
So switching over to the boys team, Rachel, what has the weakness been that led them to lose to a previously winless team?
I would have to say fouls played the biggest role in both of the Lancers' losses this week, Sean. They walked away with 20 fouls against Trimble on Tuesday, and they carried that same overly aggressive play into Friday when they racked up 26 big fouls against Eastern. Federal Hawking finished with just 4 players after Carter Russell and Jared Hawk reached their 5-foul limit. Now AJ Cobb and Chase Curtis were also benched late in the second half with apparent knee injuries. That's when the already trailing Lancers dug themselves into an even deeper hole. Fed Hawk also had trouble controlling the ball once it was back in their possession, with over
10 turnovers and only 14 rebounds compared to Eastern's 38, the team just was not able to even set up the plays they needed to win. If you ask me though, this is just a hiccup in the road to a 500 season. If Federal Hockey can cut back on the mistakes and just play basketball, the end of the season could look a lot different than the first half.
We'll see if they're able to respond to that loss. Thanks a lot, Rachel. Last season was certainly the time to be an Athens fan. The Bulldogs boys and girls teams were both crowned TVC Ohio champions with 38 total wins and just one combined conference loss. Athens reporter Patrick Klinger joins me on the desk now. And Patrick, these teams have a lot to live up to.
Oh, absolutely. Last year was huge for both of these teams, but it's important to know, Sean, that these are two completely different ball clubs this time around. I'll start with the ladies. You know, they're really struggling in their first year without Dominique Dosick. With her 1,901 career points, she led Athens to 82 wins, 4 conference titles, and 2 district titles. Without her production, they're just a little lost on offense. They are currently sitting at 1-10 because they can't score any points. You know, they're averaging just about 28 points per contest and are shooting an icy 23% from the field. Now, they're led by their senior point guard, Alexis McCullum. She's their quarterback on the floor, but she's not really a natural scorer. However, that is the role that she's been forced to step into due to the inexperience on this young roster.
So what about first-year head coach Paul McNeil? I know that you're really familiar with him.
Oh, absolutely. I have a lot of respect for Coach McNeil because I actually played for him just a few short years ago at my time at Logan. You know, and when he wasn't making me run suicides, he was focused on the fundamentals and team defense, and that's exactly what he's brought to Athens this year. You know, he's always telling me about this season being a process. You know, he just wants to see the Lady Bulldogs improve with each game on their schedule. And speaking of teams improving, you know, the Athens boys started the season 0-4, but they're really playing a much better basketball to pull themselves closer to 500.
Yeah, this team also lost a lot of talent, but they still have junior standout guard Griffin Lutz.
Oh, absolutely. And in the Bulldogs season opener, he went and dropped a cool 40 points like it was no big deal, but that's just the kind of athleticism and skill that he brings to the game night in and night out. And though head coach Jeff Skinner knows that his team is better off when multiple players are finding themselves in double figures, you know, this team, Athens goes as Griffin goes. And unlike the girls, offense is not the problem for the boys, it's their defense. You know, they've given up 70-plus points 6 times this season, and they've lost all 6 games. So when this team commits itself on the defensive end of the floor, they can compete with absolutely anyone. And you know, Sean, with all of these changes between the girls and the guys, you know, I think the best change of this new Hardwood season is how you look in that polo, man. That thing's looking pretty fresh. I'm looking forward to another season with you.
Yeah, you don't look too bad yourself, Pat. I'm looking forward to talking to you later in the year. You know that you can tune into our show on Sunday nights, but for all the content that you crave during the week, visit our YouTube page, WOUB PBS. Excuse me. There you can find nightly recaps, the full story on Faith Bennett Wolf, clips from the show, and even full past episodes when you need your Southeastern Ohio basketball fix. Now let's take a trip over to Pomeroy, where first-year head coach Scott Cleland didn't get off to a fast start, but the Lady Marauders have been on a roll recently. Meg's reporter Andrew Homan joins me on the desk now. And Andrew, what has happened these past few weeks?
You know, Sean, things are really starting to come together for Megs. Cleveland considers every player a starter, but some players are starting to stand out, especially Cassidy Betzing. Last Monday against Federal Hockey, she had 24 points, 8 assists, and 11 steals. And even with the emergence of Betzing, who is just a freshman, by the way, Cleveland knows all of his players can step up.
It's all of them contributing, whether it's for 10 seconds, 30 seconds, you know, 30 minutes. It's all of them doing their job and understanding what it is.
The main way every Lady Marauder contributes is on defense. They play tight on-ball defense, love the press, and force opponents to make poor decisions. The difference these last couple weeks is that they've improved their transition game. So now they aren't just holding teams, they're finding ways to score at the other end.
Yeah, and it really has been a great start for the Lady Marauders, but the boys are even better, and they're 11-0 right now. How unexpected is this, Andrew?
It's pretty crazy, Sean. They already have more wins than they did all of last season. So let's take a look at some of the expecteds and unexpecteds from this year. First, it's no surprise that Caleb Sheets is a true leader. He brings electricity to the court like Isaiah English did last year. The difference with Sheets, he can be cold-blooded from behind the arc. And when it comes to three-point land, we can't forget Luke Musser and Colton Lilly. All of these guys can put up 20 points on a given night. Now for something unexpected, for the second year in a row, we're watching a Marauder go from JV star to varsity playmaker. Last year it was Jared Kennedy. This year, Christian Maddox is breaking through. 3 weeks ago, Caleb Sheets was out of town at an all-star football game in Dallas, Texas. Maddox was given the chance and he impressed Coach Ed Fry. Fast forward to Friday night, 23 points and growing confidence. Sean, watch as this kid improves on an already strong team.
Yeah, that's definitely going to be a great matchup with two undefeated teams in the TVC Ohio. Thanks for joining us, Andrew. And time is running out for our first show, but don't change that station just yet. We have a lot more to throw at you, including Megan Stamper talking about how the season has gone for the Eastern Eagles so far. We will also show you our tweet of the week, and I'll tell you it was hard to pick just one, but we know that you'll want to see this. Josh and Danny will join us finally to reveal our first Heroes of the Week. Now, I'm joined by Trimble reporter David Michael and Alexander reporter Josh Vermillion on the desk, and it's time for our first jump ball segment of the year. In jump ball, we pit two reporters against each other, and they will debate a topic of my choosing, and I will pick a winner. So guys, my question for you is, which of your teams has had the better start to the season, and which will finish stronger? Josh, we're going to start with you with a 30-second opening statement.
Well, you know, Alexander may have lost to Athens on Friday night, but they still have had a great start to the season, and things are only going to get better from here, and their success starts at the defensive end of the floor. They are only giving up 40 points a game, and they have allowed less than 30 points on 4 different occasions, and then it just comes down to strength of schedule. From top to bottom, the TVC Ohio is much deeper than the Hawking, and when it comes to tourney time, Alexander's tough games against those Ohio opponents are going to put them in a much stronger position than Trimble.
How about David? How about you make your case now?
Well, Josh, Trimble won their most recent game. They're 8-1 and undefeated in the TVC Hawking, and they're going to remain undefeated in the Hawking. They've got all Hero Watches members Justice Jenkins and Bryce Guthrie leading the charge. The two have fantastic chemistry with each other as well as the rest of the team. However, that's not the only Tomcat weapon in the arsenal. Head coach Howie Caldwell focuses on making his practices harder than games and getting as much player experience for everyone. In the last game against Fed Hawk, there were 10 additional players along with Guthrie and Jenkins who put up points.
Well, you know, congratulations to Trimble on that win over Fed Hawk, you know. That's real tough. But if you remember, Alexander, when they played Fed Hawk a little while ago, they put up 75 points and only allowed 25. That is tripling their score, something that Trimble definitely didn't do in that game.
Now, let's not diss Fed Hawk. Definitely a decent team and definitely was a tough one. But for us, like I said, we had 10 additional players. We're making sure everyone gets some game time. We're not keeping the same 5 in rotation.
Well, if you want to talk about deep, you mentioned that they had Jenkins and Guthrie, but Alexander also has 2 all-hero watch list players in Mason Chapman and Seth Richardson. And as we go down the bench, you got defensive standout Kyle Howard, Chase Harris, Jake Weaver, Lucas Thompson, and Corey Chapman. They all contribute on the floor, and they are two-way players that contribute on both ends.
Now, if you want to talk deep, let's talk about how we're getting later into the season. Now, it's all about these big finishes coming up, and we're kind of entering third quarter, so to speak.
All right, guys, we got to cut you off short here. That's a great debate. Josh, I really like Alexander's strength of schedule, but I think I'm going to have to give David this win. Guthrie and Jenkins kind of put it over the top for me, but thanks a lot, both of you guys. And while you're surfing the web for clues about Star Wars Episode 8, take a break and head over to our website, www.woub.org/heroes. There you can find all of the nightly recaps with your lovely online hosts, as well as the accompanying written recaps by our online staff. You can also watch segments from the show, and you can watch full episodes there as well. It may be a new year, but it's the same old storylines for Eastern basketball. I'm joined now by Eagles expert Megan Stamper. Megan, how has the season played out for both of these teams?
Sean, it's a tale of 2 different seasons out in Reedsville again for the Eastern Eagles. Let's let the ladies go first. They're having the season most people expected them to, a winning record, some dominant wins with just a few bumps along the road. Their 3 losses have come at the hands of a very experienced Vinton County squad, the Lady Tornadoes of Southern, and the undefeated Waterford ladies. The one thing that's troubling about all those losses is that they have all been double-digit defeats. But those hiccups are pushed to the wayside fast, and they have had plenty of dominant victories this season too. Just this past week, they traveled to Trimble and held the Lady Tomcats to just 20 points while scoring 57 of their own. 21 of those points came from Laura Pullins, who emerged last year as the leader of this team, and she's helped the Lady Eagles to a victory over Federal Hawking on Thursday night as well.
So Laura may be the leader of this team, but they are also currently missing another key player.
Exactly, Sean. Her sidekick, sophomore Madison Williams, has been out with an injured knee the past couple games. The Lady Eagles miss Williams' production on offense and her ball hawk skills on defense, but Pullins and other girls like freshman Jess Parker have stepped up to help out while Williams is out. They have a big rematch with Southern on Monday night, and unfortunately for the Eagles, it does not look like Williams will be able to go. They will have to play almost perfect ball to avenge their 15-point loss from earlier this season.
Yeah, so the Eagles are definitely off to a hot start for the ladies, but the boys, not so much.
Yeah, Sean, the Eagles were able to pick up their first win of the season Friday night against Fed Hawk, but they have not played well in their other games. So far this season, Eastern's opponents have been holding them to an average of just 46 points per game, and Eastern is allowing teams to average about 67 points a game against them. So it's really going to be hard to win when you are allowing almost 21 more points than you're scoring. But they have had a few close games as well, but they failed to pull away with the win in both of those. Back on December 8th, Jet Facemeyer hit a buzzer beater to tie the score at 57 against Belpre that sent the game into overtime, but the Golden Eagles were able to pull away with the win in OT with a 77-68 victory. Their next game out in Bahama was a low-scoring affair decided by 2 points, and they came away winless in that one too. If they want to stop the losing skid, they'll need to find more production on offense.
Yes, thanks a lot, Megan. I told you all how to get in touch with us earlier on Twitter, so now it's time to show you our favorite tweets so far. This comes to us from the Alexander student section. The boys and girls in the alley sent in this picture of their beach theme night, and they have also had ESPN, The Purge, and Camo theme nights. Great stuff from all you Spartan fans. Just one more thing tonight, so I am rejoined now by Josh and Danny. You guys promised to reveal our first Heroes of the Week, so who made the cut?
We've been on the sidelines every night scouting out players of the week, and we saw some guys and girls who just lit it up.
You know, it's still pretty early in the season, but we've seen certain players really give it their all on the hardwood, and these players are turning heads all around the TVC.
Oh yeah, you want to talk about turning heads, Josh? Then I have to give the first boys hero of the week to Meg's Christian Maddox. Friday night, this kid came off the bench, and it was straight money shots. It started when Maddox drained an NBA-range buzzer beater at the end of the first, and from then on, he was fire. He racked up 23 points, shooting 5 of 6 from the three-point line. My favorite thing about him is that until 3 weeks ago, he only dressed varsity. In their game Friday, Caleb Sheets was great in the paint, but not making anything from the outside. But enter Christian Maddox, and Megs had nothing to worry about. I'm really excited to see his performance when Megs plays Vinton County later on in the week.
Picking the girls' hero of the week was tough, but it's funny you mentioned Vinton County because I got to give this one to Jalen Hale. She's been putting high numbers on offense. The 6-foot athlete was a beast on Sunday when the Lady Vikings took on Circleville. They were trailing 35-28 late in the fourth, but Hale led a 12-point run with 10 points to take a 40-35 lead. However, they still fell in the end 45-42, but it was definitely a hero of the week performance from Hale, scoring 21 points. Fast forwarding into Thursday's game against Athens, her defense shined through with 7 blocks, and she had 20 points, giving them the 64-33 win. Definitely someone we'll hear about later on this season.
Oh yeah, for the next 8 weeks, Josh and I will be on the sidelines looking for the guy and girl who just goes off on the hardwood, and we will crown them as our hero of the week.
So be sure to tune in and follow the action.
Great, guys. Can't wait to see who steps up this week. Well, folks, the clock shows all zeros on our first episode, and unfortunately, we don't have an overtime. Thank you all for tuning in, and you know how to get in touch with us on the internet and social media as well. So, for tonight's episode, I'm your host, Sean Neidig, reminding you to be heroic.